and Android.
Now at 9, an Arkansas man learns his fate for his role in a 2023 shooting outside of a Pittsburgh bar. Plus, the Show Me State moves to argue gun laws at the highest court. The justices have other ideas. And
at PSU, it's a gathering of trumpet players from throughout the Midwest. I'm Kenny Foreman, and I'll give you an inside look coming up.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
The suspect in a fatal 2023 bar shooting in Pittsburgh learns his fate today. This is KOAM News at 9 on Fox 14. I'm Anthony Saviello. The incident happened on a Sunday morning back in August of 2023. Authorities responded around 1:15 to a reported shooting. On scene, they discovered Justin Krogan of Pittsburgh had been shot outside of a local bar and died from his injuries. The suspect, Jamon Allen, was arrested nearly 4 months later in Arkansas. At the time, Allen was extradited to Crawford County Jail. He had originally been charged with murder in the first degree, but in June, Allen accepted a plea bargain, which dropped the murder 1 charge. Today, a Crawford County judge sentenced the Pine Bluff man to a 10.5 years in prison for voluntary manslaughter, aggravated battery, and aggravated assault. Allen was also ordered to pay $7,500 in restitution and register upon his release as a violent offender. The United States Supreme Court refuses to revive a controversial Missouri gun law. The highest courts today said it would not hear arguments over whether the Show Me State can ban police from enforcing some federal gun laws. The state argued federal laws that don't have an equivalent state law do not have to be enforced. The measure imposed $50,000 in fines for officers who knowingly enforced those federal laws. Those laws included possession of firearms by some domestic violence offenders and weapons registrations and tracking. Lower courts found the 2019 law violated the Supremacy Clause, a section of the U.S. Constitution that says federal law takes precedence over state laws. Supreme Court justices refused to intervene in 2023, keeping the law blocked while a court fight between the state and the federal government played out. Months after severe storms hit southwest Missouri this spring and summer, some homeowners still struggle with cleanup and insurance claims. 2 major storm systems on April 29th and June 29th brought high winds and widespread damage across the region. Homeowners like Kelly Barlow say insurance adjusters haven't thoroughly assessed all the damage to their properties.
And the guy never did really get up underneath the trailer to see if it shifted anything. He just glanced in. I stood there and walked with him. He says it doesn't look like it shifted. Did he ever get up underneath of it to look? No, he did not.
Insurance agents say policies vary by company, but most require structural damage for coverage. Bryant Young with Insurers of the Ozarks says companies are reevaluating replacement costs to ensure accurate coverage. He recommends homeowners review their policies with agents before the next storm season. Let's go ahead and check in with Chief Meteorologist Doug Hetty.
Well, it definitely turned out to be a warm one for us again today. High temps into the mid 80s. We've been in this really stretch for about the past 10 days, but we do have some changes moving in. Cold front is passing through, so that means we are going to cool down a bit as we go into Tuesday and Wednesday. We're talking about 70s instead of mid to upper 80s. Also a few showers trying to get in here by the morning hours. Rain chances again as we get into Friday. Most of the rain through the evening hours have been kind of out just west of our region. These are going to die down as they push through tonight, and then we'll see a few additional showers trying to get going as we get into the morning hours tomorrow. Let me take you into Tuesday morning here, 6 a.m. Scattered showers, maybe a couple rumbles of thunder, working southeast, but at the same time kind of falling apart. But we are going to have scattered showers out there. We'll talk more details about that here in a bit.
Doug, thanks. Pitt State University held its annual Midwest Trumpet Festival the last 2 days. KOAM's Kenny Foreman gives us an inside look.
Even experienced trumpet players like music education major Joseph Lancaster are not immune to stage fright.
Doesn't hit me until like 15 minutes before I'm like backstage and I'm like, oh man, I'm about to do this.
Luckily for him, featured guest and Nashville Symphony Orchestra principal trumpet William Leathers helped put Lancaster's nerves at ease during a one-on-one session.
Can you sing the phrase that you see on the music and try to make it sound in a way that you don't want the phrase to sound like the way it looks.
The sense of community among trumpet students and educators was certainly felt by all at the Midwest Trumpet Festival, which welcomed a number of middle schools, high schools, and colleges. It's something that means a lot to Professor of Trumpet at Northwest Missouri State University, Bill Richardson.
Sometimes trumpet players get a bad rap for being very egocentric, and I don't get that sense here at the Midwest Trumpet Festival. It's very, there's a collaborative spirit that happens with all of us that are here, whether they're students or teachers or our guest artists that come in.
Many of the educators hope that the younger students leave the festival feeling inspired to continue their pursuit of music, whether that be in the classroom or even beyond.
There are many different careers in music for people to pursue, from performances, being a performing artist, to being a music educator, to being in the military band, to being a symphony orchestra.
In Pittsburgh, Kenny Foreman, KOAM News.
Hastings says about 10 to 15 colleges and 5 high schools were represented. Well, beginning this year, the community of West Mineral has been turning a bare lot into a Veterans Memorial Park funded entirely by donations and grants. So far, a swing set and an ADA picnic table have been installed, with more equipment expected in the coming weeks. Plans include bathrooms, a bike rack, a slide, tetherball, grills, and a walking trail just across the street. The plan is also to add a community shelter when funds become available. Anyone interested can donate to the project at Labette Bank.
We hope that families can come here and just have a great, safe place to bring their families to enjoy an afternoon out and just to be able to be a family and just enjoy the great town.
Coming up, the government shutdown enters day 6.
The government shutdown is nearing a full week with no sign of Democrats or Republicans giving in. I'm Connor Hansen in New York with how this could start impacting workers. Coming up.
But up first, a young girl creates a lemonade stand to help her fund her stem cell treatment.
KOA Sunday on Fox.
A pop-up lemonade stand may not be a rare sight for most. However, a young girl in Missouri is using this common business practice to help pay for her own stem cell treatment. Reagan DeTrolio has more.
I want to be able to walk again. What does that mean to you?
Well, to actually do it, I've been trying to accomplish it a long time. So it just makes me really happy.
12-and-a-half-year-old Ella Schaflitzel has almost always been confined to this wheelchair. Her mom, Ashley, says Ella was born extremely early and as a result diagnosed with cerebral palsy.
She's had a spinal surgery at Children's, she's had a hip surgery at Children's, she's had another hip surgery at Children's where they've actually worked on her hips to correct her hip dysplasia. She spends a lot of time in therapy.
And the stem cell transfusions Ella needs aren't cheap.
It costs, just for the procedure alone, is $15,000. And then you can get more than one, so our hope is to get more than one if she were to need it, and then get her the best therapies afterwards as well.
This local barbershop here in Wentzville heard about Ella's story online, and now, as you can see, they're helping her host this lemonade stand. Each cup sold can make a difference in Ella's life.
They're helping me get enough money so I can get a stem cell transplant, which could help me walk in 3 to 6 months.
What we do raise, we're going to put to the things she needs, whether it be another transfusion, whether it needs to be more therapy. At some point, we'll probably need to get her new medical equipment. She is in a wheelchair right now, but she might. My hope is she'll get to move on to canes and then hopefully nothing at all.
Ella's family says their community has been a tremendous help throughout this tiring medical journey.
I know people are supporting me even if I don't know them.
Well, the Center for Disease Control and Prevention signed off on a recommendation that patients must consult a healthcare provider to get a COVID vaccine. This and other recommendations were made by a new panel of vaccine advisors chosen by Health and Human Services Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr. The advisors voted unanimously last month that people who want a COVID vaccine should consult with a healthcare provider. However, they narrowly voted down a recommendation that a prescription should be required. With the CDC's okay, the recommendations are now final and U.S. vaccine schedules will be updated. According to new research, medication inhaler sprays are substantial contributors to planet warming pollution. Experts say it's not the medicine that's the problem, but the propellants known as HFAs. When the chemical is released into the air, HFAs trap heat in the atmosphere and cause problems. The new study says the impact of pollution from inhalers was equivalent to driving more than 500,000 cars per year. Research showed that concerted efforts to reduce traditional inhaler use can make a difference. Doug is next with a complete look at your forecast, and later, as the government continues its shutdown, how are local businesses and charities being affected?
Sign up for the Pittsburgh 150 Golf Tourney.
Center for the Arts.
Well, of course, another warm one for us today. A long stretch of 80s over the past about 10 days, but we do have a cold front which is going to be working in as we go through really the overnight hours tonight. Now, with this front, there is a little bit of moisture, not a lot, but a little bit. You can see some scattered showers, a couple rumbles of thunder. This has mainly been out along the I-35 corridor, really through the evening hours, and not much is going to press east as we go through the rest of the evening into the overnight hours. So let me take you into Tuesday morning. Scattered showers, couple thunderstorms start to pop back up again. This batch is going to dive southeast as we go through the morning hours. The problem is it's also going to fall apart as it does so. So starting the day, scattered showers, kind of driving east, Fort Scott, Pittsburgh, Nevada, Lamar, maybe a couple get into the Joplin area, but mainly along the north of I-44. And then once we get the late morning to the noon hour, they're gone. We just have clouds, but those clouds will keep our temperatures down. A little bit of sunshine during the afternoon, but I think our high temps significantly cooler, probably 73-ish on average across the region. So right about where we should be for this time of the year. Look at this, a light northeasterly wind tomorrow night. Temperatures plummet all the way down into lower 50s, so a really crisp start on your Wednesday. Wednesday looks pretty good. Mostly sunny skies, temps mid-70s, right where we should be for this time of the year. And then it gets kind of cool again as we go Wednesday night into Thursday morning, right back down into the low to mid-50s. All right, Dave, well, actually rain chances. Again, it's going to be very scattered, mainly along the north of I-44. Some of these showers may be upwards to about 1/10 of an inch, and that should be about it. 63 to start, 70 by noon. High temp on your Tuesday. Let's go 73 degrees. Let's go upstairs in the atmosphere. So we're looking at 500 millibars of pressure. What that means to you, about 18,000 feet. Have this ridge right on top of us. A wave rotates around the ridge on Friday, giving us some chances to get a few showers back in here again. Now on Thursday, I think it's going to be dry, a little bit warmer. Look at the winds. They start to crank back out of the south. So we should warm up near 80, and then a weak little wave kind of tracks through Friday morning. So this will give us some light showers kind of pushing through. Then Friday afternoon looks good. Let's go into your weekend because we start to heat back up. We go into the mid-80s Saturday. We go into the upper 80s by the time Sunday rolls around. Of course, the leaves starting to change just a little bit. We're going to see this trend. And if we go into here in about 2 weeks, we're going to be in our partial peak, and then we should peak foliage-wise here right at the end of the month. So a lot of changes over the next few weeks. All right, let's go 73 on Tuesday, 78 Wednesday, 80 Thursday, 82 Friday. Mid to upper 80s by the weekend. Rain chances again next week.
Doug, thank you very much. Coming up next, how the government shutdown is affecting local food pantries.
As the government shutdown continues, one local food pantry is working to meet the demand. I'm Blake Gully, and I'll have that story coming up.
As the government shutdown continues, one Joplin food pantry is preparing for an increase in families needing help. KOAM's Blake Gully shows us how Souls Harbor is ready to meet that growing demand.
Over the last few months, Souls Harbor has seen more families turning to them for help. And leaders here say many of those families aren't unemployed. They are working, but with federal cuts and rising costs, they can't make ends meet.
We just did our numbers, and 82% of the people that we serve from our food pantry are people who are in homes that do have jobs, that are going out there. They just can't make ends meet because of all the bills that they have going on now, the food stamp cuts, all of that's been going on has caused such a burden that now to keep them in their homes, they do need that extra help.
The shelves here at Souls Harbor are full for now, but as more families seek assistance, they'll be empty again soon.
Over the last few months, they've already been cutting back on the food stamps, and so now we have the WIC program as well. And so we've been adding 20 to 50 new families every single week. So, and this has gone on for a couple, 3 months now. So yeah, the load here is getting extremely heavy.
As food pantries try to keep shelves stocked, local federal agencies are operating with limited resources during the shutdown. Peyton Kessler with the Cherokee County Health Department says, without NSA for staffing, no new benefits can be issued, but benefits that have already been issued onto a participant's card will remain available and redeemable as long as food funds are still available. As the shutdown continues, local agencies say they'll keep providing updates as new information comes down from Washington. Reported in the 4 states, Blake Gully, KOAM News.
Souls Harbor says the shelves will keep getting restocked thanks to community donations, and they're asking anyone who can lend a hand to do so. For more details on how you can support the pantry, visit our website. The Alliance of Southwest Missouri hosted a free community event aimed at educating the public on emerging drug trends and strategies to prevent harm amid a shifting drug culture. Attendees were provided with valuable resources, refreshments, and opportunities to engage with local organizations dedicated to substance abuse prevention. A panel of professionals answered common questions before engaging with the audience through a Q&A session. Organizers hope attendees leave with a deeper compassion for those affected by drug issues and an increased awareness of available local resources.
I hope that they learn something new. I hope that they leave here with the feeling of, of compassion and understanding. The stigma around drug use is lowered, that we're not looking at someone and judging them without knowing their full story. And I hope that they come away with knowing how they can help and be involved.
Folks were also given a presentation on different types of marijuana, kratom, and xylazine, and how they're made. We're a little more than 3 weeks away from Halloween, and according to the National Retail Federation's annual consumer survey, Halloween spending is expected to reach a record $13.1 billion this year. And despite concerns over higher costs for things like Halloween costumes and candy, the survey estimates 73% of people will celebrate the holiday, up 1% from last year. In addition, candy sales are expected to reach $3.9 billion. Costume spending is expected to reach $4.3 billion, and spending on decoration is estimated at $4.2 billion. Coming up next, new additions to the Missouri War Memorial honors soldiers who fought in Iraq and Afghanistan. A new obelisk rises at the Missouri Veterans Memorial in Jefferson City to honor those who served in the Iraq and Afghanistan wars. The monument joins 8 other obelisks on the Veterans Walk next to the state capitol. The Missouri Veterans Commission pushed for the project after the General Assembly approved funding. The $157,000 obelisk will read Wars in Iraq and Afghanistan with dates from 2001 to 2021. The Office of Administration oversees construction, which is expected to finish by the month's end. The Veterans Walk now represents every armed conflict Missourians have served in since the Mexican-American War.
Those members that I deployed with to Iraq and to Afghanistan were willing to give everything they had.
Coming up, 30 more minutes of news, weather, and sports coming your way. Coming up, the government shutdown takes its toll and oversees the fighting and may be soon over.
Ever to ending the fighting in Gaza. I'm Rebecca Castor with the latest on the peace talks coming up.
You're watching the 4 states' most watched news.
As the government shutdown approaches 1 full week, neither side has shown signs of giving in or making a deal. Real consequences could be coming soon for federal workers. Fox News correspondent Connor Hansen has the latest.
If the Democrats do not vote to open the government tonight, federal workers will not receive their next full paycheck.
Republicans are still blaming Democrats for prolonging a government shutdown. Democrats are demanding an extension of Obamacare subsidies and say they don't trust Republicans to negotiate later this year before they expire.
We are holding the line to bring down healthcare costs, and Republicans' answer to that, canceling votes and running away from their duty. I think it speaks for itself.
The White House has already paused major infrastructure projects in Democrat-led cities. While thousands have already been furloughed, the administration now says it could start firing federal workers permanently.
If the president decides that the negotiations are absolutely going nowhere, then there will start to be layoffs.
Essential workers like air traffic controllers are still expected to show up after their pay is paused. Transportation Secretary Sean Duffy says it will add more stress to an already stressful job.
I work 6 days a week in the tower. I might have to pick up some Uber jobs. So then they come into work tired, exhausted, because they're trying to make that extra money.
2 more votes on bills that would reopen the government are scheduled Monday, but are not expected to pass. House Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries called for a shutdown debate on the House floor, but Speaker Mike Johnson declined. In New York, Connor Hansen, Fox News.
On Sunday, a federal judge temporarily blocked the deployment of California's National Guard troops to Portland, Oregon. This comes just 1 day after the same ruling was made on the deployment of Oregon National Guard. President Donald Trump ordered the California troops to Portland to protect what he calls a, quote, war-ravaged city. About 100 California National Guard troops had already arrived in Oregon. Oregon Governor Tina Kotek said the president's move to send troops from California appears to intentionally sidestep Saturday's ruling. According to the government lawyers, the National Guard is needed to protect ICE agents trying to carry out their work. Also happening in Portland, protesters gathering outside a U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement facility. Video captured officers handcuffing and removing one protester after dozens confronted law enforcement. Multiple protesters were seen screaming at officers who urged them to back away. The protest comes as people in Oregon disapprove of Donald Trump's efforts to send National Guard troops to Portland. President Donald Trump has called Portland, quote, a war-ravaged and war zone, but state leaders say his claims are based off images from 2020 when protests filled the city for several months. Top negotiators from the U.S., Israel, and Hamas are in Egypt today to hash out the details on President Trump's peace plan, which could end the years-long war and return the remaining hostages. Fox's Rebecca Castor at the White House with the latest details.
Smoke rising across the Gaza Strip Monday ahead of pivotal talks nearly 300 miles away in Egypt that could finally bring an end to the fighting.
I tell you, it's amazing. You're going to have peace, if you think about it, peace in the Middle East for the first time in, they say, really 3,000 years. So I'm very honored to be a big part of that.
President Donald Trump is optimistic Hamas will fully accept his peace proposal. But many Palestinians find it hard to believe real peace is coming.
I appeal to God to make the truce succeed. Oh God, because the people are tired.
There's not 1% of hope because they gave us hope before and said there would be a truce, and then the truce was ruined. Then they said there would be negotiations, and then the negotiations were ruined.
Special Envoy Steve Witkoff and Trump's son-in-law Jared Kushner are leading the talks on behalf of the U.S. The first priority is the release of all remaining hostages, some of whom are in underground tunnels where they've been starved and reportedly forced to dig their own graves. The more difficult talks regarding withdrawing troops and governing Gaza will come next.
I think that we are the closest we have been in a very long time to having no hostages held by Hamas, either living or deceased.
President Trump is urging negotiators to work fast and wants the 20 hostages believed to still be alive released this week. At the White House, Rebecca Castor, Fox News.
Doug is next with another look at your forecast and a little later. 3 scientists win the Nobel Peace Prize for Medicine. We'll have their story.
Complex, home of Connect-A-Culture and Spiva Center for the Arts.
Well, of course, another warm one for us today. A long stretch of 80s over the past about 10 days, but we do have a cold front which is going to be working in as we go through really the overnight hours tonight. Now, with this front, there is a little bit of moisture, not a lot, but a little bit. You can see some scattered showers, a couple rumbles of thunder. This has mainly been out along the I-35 corridor, really through the evening hours, and not much is going to press east as we go through the rest of the evening into the overnight hours. So let me take you into Tuesday morning. Scattered showers, a couple thunderstorms start to pop back up again. This batch is going to dive southeast as we go through the morning hours. The problem is it's also going to fall apart as it does so. So starting the day, scattered showers, kind of driving east, Fort Scott, Pittsburgh, Nevada, Lamar, maybe a couple get into the Joplin area, but mainly along the north of I-44. And then once we get the late morning to the noon hour, they're gone. We just have clouds, but those clouds will keep our temperatures down. A little bit of sunshine during the afternoon, but I think our high temps significantly cooler, probably 73-ish on average across the region. So right about where we should be for this time of the year. Look at this, light northeasterly wind tomorrow night. Temperatures plummet all the way down into lower 50s, so a really crisp start on your Wednesday. Wednesday looks pretty good. Mostly sunny skies, temps mid-70s, right where we should be for this time of the year. And then it gets kind of cool again as we go Wednesday night into Thursday morning, right back down into low to mid 50s. All right, Dave, well, actually rain chances. Again, it's going to be very scattered, mainly along the north of I-44. Some of these showers may be upwards to about 1/10 of an inch, and that should be about it. 63 to start, 70 by noon. High temp on your Tuesday. Let's go 73 degrees. Let's go upstairs in the atmosphere. So we're looking at 500 millibars of pressure. What that means to you, about 18,000 feet. Have this ridge right on top of us. A wave rotates around the ridge on Friday, giving us some chances to get a few showers back in here again. Now on Thursday, I think it's going to be dry, a little bit warmer. Look at the winds. They start to crank back out of the south. So we should warm up near 80, and then a weak little wave kind of tracks through Friday morning. So this will give us some light showers kind of pushing through. Then Friday afternoon looks good. Let's go into your weekend because we start to heat back up. We go into the mid 80s Saturday. We go into the upper 80s by the time Sunday rolls around. Of course, the leaves starting to change just a little bit. We're going to see this trend. And if we go into here in about 2 weeks, we're going to be in our partial peak, and then we should peak foliage-wise here right at the end of the month. So a lot of changes over the next few weeks. All right, let's go 73 on Tuesday, 78 Wednesday, 80 Thursday, 82 Friday. Mid to upper 80s by the weekend. Rain chances again next week.
Still ahead, the vote is in on Friday Night Football's Performance of the Week, plus the Kansas City Chiefs look to not get beat by the Jacksonville Jaguars. Ben McLeish has those stories and more up next in sports.
The Kansas City Chiefs square off with the Jacksonville Jaguars at Everbank Stadium for Monday Night Football. And Andy Reid's squad has a big opportunity in prime time. Yesterday, Kansas City got to sit back and watch the Chargers blow a lead to the Washington Commanders, LA's second straight loss. And that means that the Chiefs, after starting 0-2, can enter a three-way tie for first place in the AFC West at 3-2. What a turn of events for Kansas City. Just 3 weeks ago, it looked like Patrick Mahomes and the crew would be facing an uphill battle the whole season. Now in week 5, they can already get even with a win over the Jaguars. The Chargers still hold the tiebreaker over Kansas City, but the Chiefs can fix that as they have one more game against Los Angeles. To say the least, it's been a great 2-week stretch for the Chiefs, and now they have the chance to add the cherry on top with a win tonight. And right now, Kansas City's just hanging in there. The Jags just took a 24-21 lead in the fourth quarter. A big reason for the score right now is a Patrick Mahomes pick six at the goal line that Jacksonville's Devin Lloyd took all the way back for a touchdown. That put the Jaguars up 7, but Trent McDuffie came up with a huge interception in Jaguar territory that set up a Kareem Hunt rushing touchdown. Now the Chiefs will get the ball down by 3, and if I'm a Chiefs fan, I don't feel too bad about that. The ball in Patrick Mahomes' hands, only down by 3. Although the weather doesn't seem to realize it yet, October is officially here, which means playoff baseball is upon us. Tonight, the 4 remaining National League teams square off in the division series. The Philadelphia Phillies take on the Los Angeles Dodgers, and for the second straight game, the Dodgers come out on top. Philly was down 4 runs in the 8th, but rallied to make it a 1-run game. They had the tying run on second with nobody out in the 9th, but couldn't bring him home. And suddenly, the Phillies are facing elimination. They'll need to win 3 in a row to keep their season alive, and they'll have to win the first 2 at Dodger Stadium. Meanwhile, the Brewers and Cubs are dueling it out as we speak. Milwaukee is currently leading Chicago 7-3. The Brewers can also take a 2-game lead with a win tonight. Well, every Friday night during Press Box, we ask our viewers to vote on who they think dominated on the field. Today, the vote is in. Carthage quarterback Zane Browning gets the nod for his performance against Joplin. Browning led the Tiger offense to 28 points and, most importantly, the W. Carthage is off to a 5-1 start with Browning at the helm. But if you want to join in on the fun, you can cast your vote every weekend on our website, koamnewsnow.com/pigskin.
All right. We obviously have to talk about Chiefs right now. Game still going on. 8 minutes left. Chiefs ball. Even the Chiefs get a touchdown here. They're up 4 points. Jacksonville probably gets a chance to get the ball. What do you think the Chiefs have to do to seal the win tonight?
Well, first thing they got to do is score some more points.
Yeah.
That's been, it started off really good for them, but in the second quarter, second half, their only points are from an interception deep in Jacksonville territory.
Yeah.
Mahomes played incredible in the first half. The second half, his stats look pretty good, but they haven't been able to complete drives. They'll need to do that right now. If they can't do that, Jacksonville doesn't even need to score. They've got the lead.
Yeah, and it's important. You were talking about Chiefs win tonight. They're in a 3-way lead for the AFC West. What do you think? What do you think of this division right now?
Well, this division is going to be competitive. I think it looked like the Chargers could have ran away with it at the beginning of the season, but now it doesn't look like that. 2 tough losses.
For sure.
But I will say this. The Chargers are 3-0 against AFC West teams. That's going to be big.
Absolutely. We'll see what happens after tonight. Absolutely. That's it for sports. We're back with more after this. This year's Nobel Awards have begun in Stockholm. Today, 3 scientists won the prize in medicine. Fox's Gernal Scott has more on their initial research on the immune systems from decades ago. It's helping shape the medical world now.
The 2025 Nobel Prize announcements kicked off Monday after 3 scientists, 2 in the U.S. and 1 in Japan, won the Medicine Prize for their work on peripheral immune tolerance.
This year's Nobel Prize in Physiology or Medicine relates to how we keep our immune system under control so we can fight all imaginable microbes.
The discoveries by Mary E. Branco, Fred Ramsdell, and Shimon Sakaguchi help the medical field grasp how the immune system attacks germs while also avoiding harm to our own bodies. The laureate's work dates back to 1995 when Sakaguchi made the first key discovery from his research on mice.
By winning the prize, I hope this research field develops further and be applied in a critical setting.
Medical experts have commended their findings, calling it critical to understanding autoimmune diseases better, including type 1 diabetes and lupus.
Immune regulation is incredibly important to study because our immune system is designed to prevent us from being attacked by pathogens, but at the same time it can attack us in the form of arthritis, multiple sclerosis.
Researchers are using the laureate's data to find enhanced treatment for diseases, improve organ transplant success, and strengthen the body's fight against cancer.
I don't know what else to say at this point. It's still, I'm sure it hasn't quite hit me yet.
The trio will share the prize's reward of almost $1.2 million. Gernal Scott, Fox News.
An illegal street race ends with police saving the driver. That's coming up next. An illegal street race ended with a bang when one of the vehicles involved rolled over in an explosive crash, and police had to rescue its occupant from the flames. Jeremy Roth has today's Take a Look at This.
Newly released video from authorities in New Mexico of a tense, fiery crash and rescue is being used as a cautionary tale to warn against street racing. Police in Farmington say cameras captured vehicles fleeing after an illegal street race before one lost control, collided with another car, and ended in an explosive crash. Officers arrived and quickly worked to remove an occupant from the upturned, burning vehicle before he and another victim were transported for medical treatment. KRQE reports at least one driver is now facing charges for racing on highways, and police commented, warning no one intends to have their car end up in a fireball, but it happens because of the high speeds, the aggressive driving, and the reckless nature of street racing. There's pretty much never a great excuse for speeding, and one driver caught doing just that in Florida may have found the thinnest argument ever. After deputies say they spotted the man doing 107 miles per hour, a so-called super speeder offense they say will land you in jail, they pulled him over and asked him why he was in such a hurry.
Why are you going so fast?
I have an appointment with my barber.
You have an appointment with your barber.
Hey man, I get it. It can be hard to pin down a grooming appointment, but in this case, hurrying to get your hair did was an excuse that just didn't cut it. All right, what do you say we slow things down with a lovely zen-like look at the Albuquerque International Balloon Fiesta, which kicked off over the weekend with a New Mexico sky full of festive and flamboyant floating fodder. KOAT reports some 800,000 people are expected to attend the week-long annual event, and why not? After all, there's nothing like a bevy of beautiful balloons aloft to give you a lift. For Take a Look at This, I'm Jeremy Roth.
Well, it's officially fall, and you know what that means. Cooling temperatures, colorful foliage, and falling leaves, plus the sight of the harvest moon on a clear autumn night. The harvest moon will be visible from Monday night into early Tuesday. It should be extra special because this year it's also the first of 3 back-to-back supermoons. A supermoon happens when the moon reaches its nearest point to Earth, making it look larger and fuller. October's full moon is called the harvest moon because it's the full moon closest to the first days of fall. Historically, its bright light helped farmers finish their harvest for the year. Well, that's been our time now. Have a great night.